Welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE, and my next guest is a Marine, a best-selling author, an entrepreneur, and a coach. Welcome to the show, Richard Walsh.
Thanks. Well, great to be here. Appreciate
it. Mine. Thank you for being a guest. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I love showing up.
It's amazing because I've interviewed quite a few coaches and everything that come from a military background, and it's something that they're very passionate about and they love to do is to help people. And so when I see you as a guest, I was like, oh man, yeah, heck yeah, I want him on my show. So let's just jump right into this. Can you share your journey of losing everything in 2008 and how it led to you writing Escape the Owner Prison?
Yeah, you bet. So, after about 20 years in business, my first business, which was custom water features and steel sculpture and all that kind of stuff, 0809 hit. At the time, I had 6 children, 4 years old and younger. Of course, my wife. The big collapse came, the big restriction there in the financial world, in the business world, if you will. It really affected my business in a big way. And I always tell people, well, I affected my business in a big way because I didn't do the things I should have been doing to make this business weather that storm. I was real successful. I was number one. I was out front. I was on TV and in magazines and big shows and all the great stuff, on committees for the city of Chicago. And I'm getting commissions for steel sculptures and I'm doing world-class exhibits. And well, who's better than me? Right. Well, and then all of a sudden it just evaporated like overnight. On November 5th of 2008, I lost $500,000 that day. And it just kept going off the cliff. So I was pretty much like, well, I'm pretty sure this is over. Didn't know what I was going to do. I knew this was going to end. We're trying to limp through. And I kind of had a big epiphany one morning thinking about my kids. I got these little kids who just love to see me when I come home. One of my sons was chasing me down the driveway as I'm driving to work, right? He's crying, because I'm leaving. I'm looking in the rearview mirror going, man, like, what am I doing? All I'm doing is working all the time. This thing's probably going to end. And I started thinking, more is caught than taught when it comes to kids. Okay. So you can tell them a lot of things. They're really grabbing onto what you do. So if you're not congruent in what you're saying and what you're doing, they're going to do what you do. Okay. So I started thinking about that morning. I'm like, man, if I stay in this path where business is first, winning's everything, right? All this kind of stuff. They're going to grow up. They're going to have broken marriages, failed relationships, right? They may be good at business, but everything else in their life is going to be a disaster because of what I showed them. So I got up, I went in the office and I said, we're done today. I went to my yard, my construction yard, told my guys, we're wrapping it up this week. Not doing this anymore. And that was it. And those guys have been with me 10 years straight. They're awesome. We were like family. So that began, well, now what do? I'm losing my home, losing my business. I lost everything. So we packed up, moved to another state, moved from Illinois to Wisconsin, and just had to kind of figure it out. And that was a little challenging because I had no idea. I had nothing. But I did. I started training. I was a fitness trainer because I love doing that kind of stuff. Became trainer of the year at Anytime Fitness, so being an entrepreneur, if I'm trainer of the year there, I guess I should go with my own gym. So I did that and I scaled my gym. That was great. Then I got a construction business, started doing that as well. And during this time, people are asking me, how'd you do that? How'd you go from all that to nothing back to this? So I started mentoring people and I thought, I should write a book. I like to write. So I wrote a book and I wanted to weave my story in it, but it's called Escape the Owner Prison. The contractor's new way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth while loving life. Because I started seeing these patterns every business was hitting. That's what I did. I'm trapped. Can't leave. I don't open the door. Business doesn't happen. I can't go away for 2 weeks without calling in every other day to make sure the place didn't burn down. Right? That whole thing. And I kept seeing that. I'm like, well, I'm going to write this book. Then I built an academy around it so I could coach people. So I went from mentor to coach, started coaching people and helping turn their businesses around so they can scale, have that freedom to be with their family, right? Want them to have that profit, freedom, and impact. I want them to be able to do all that because that's what everyone started to get in the business for. We get in the business to do that, not to be a slave to the business.
Yeah.
So the whole goal is to make the business serve you instead of you serving it. And that's kind of brings us to speed.
Awesome. What does the concept of the owner prison mean, and why do so many entrepreneurs fall into that trap?
So when you start a business, well, it's really hard work.
Hmm.
Okay. And I have not found the secret sauce to make it not be hard work. Doesn't exist. You're going to wear a lot of hats, you're going to do a lot of work, put in a lot of hours, right? We get that first year, 2 years. The problem is, next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and you've repeated the first two 5 times. Okay. That's the owner prison. That's what you're stuck in. You're making a little more money. You you have the facade of freedom because you can like come in late or go home early, maybe have lunch with your wife once a week, something like that. But that's not freedom, right? That's not freedom. So that's what I saw. That was the patterns I saw, and guys trapped in that, and they can't ever break away because they're the technician or they're the craftsman or they're the guy who's got to do it. No one can do it better than them. And they don't let go. They can't delegate. So they really get stuck in the owner prison. And that's what I kind of coined the phrase because that's what it is. And guys will do it for 20 years. They'll do it for 30 years. And when they're done, they don't have anything. They don't really have a business to sell because they're the business,
Yeah.
right? It's owner driven. So they just kind of shut down or they give it to their kids who really don't want it. And you know why their kids don't want it? Because they watch you chained to it for 20 some years. Like, I don't want that. I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want that life. So now if you had it done right and you had all the free time you wanted, you'd go on the trips and do that, your kids might be interested. But usually they're like going the other direction, right?
Yeah, I don't see because my brother-in-law is a mechanic, and he's one of the best around here, and so his son is like, I don't want to be no mechanic. I want to. There's other things I want to do.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to hand down, and that's a business where the same thing you have to get other mechanics to work in that business. Otherwise, you have no leverage, right? There's only so many hours in the day and so many cars you can work on.
Yeah.
So it's so if you're smart, you can grow a great business, and they're always are going to be in demand. So it's a good business. It's a
But
good business.
a lot of people, for some reason, a lot of these young guys don't want to
No.
get under the hood.
Because under the hood, or they're used to a controller, right? That's how they want to play. They only want to use their thumbs. They don't want to use all 10 fingers.
Yeah. So, how does your background as a Marine and champion boxer influence your approach to rebuilding your life and business?
Well, I think what it really is, Will, is we kind of have a mission accomplishment kind of focus.
Yeah.
Like we achieve the goal no matter what it takes, right? So you kind of get that. That's kind of built into you as a Marine, which my son is now a Marine. He's been in about a year, which is awesome. And but you got to take that mentality into business because business is war. It's a battle. We say, we're sharpening the spear coaching, honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. Because that's what it is. You got to have plans. You're going to come up against enemies. You're going to be competitive. You're going to do all this stuff. So I just kind of carry that kind of warrior mindset into it. So I'm not defeated, right? I had the perseverance. I had the grit. I could push through a lot of stuff. I could weather the storm. Because what a lot of people can't do, Will, is really go the distance. They can't understand that this doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
The great saying is people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. No one's looking out 5 years. They want it now, especially in today's society. It's very instant gratification. So in the core, you learn to suffer. Okay. You learn to suffer and wait and just sit there for days and do so it builds your resilience to weather stuff like that in business. And I didn't go in the Marine Corps to go into business, but it really worked well. Okay. And I've got the leadership qualities and things like that. So it was, and boxing, same thing, right? I got punched in the face a lot. And guess what happens in business? You get punched in the face a lot, a little more figuratively, but I got both. I got, literally and figuratively. So it's good.
Um, what are the 5 F's of success, and how can entrepreneurs use them to achieve balance and fulfillment?
Yeah. So the 5 F's, they're awesome. Okay. It's faith, it's family, it's finances, it's fitness, and it's friendships. Okay. Like when people talk about work-life balance, well, that's what they'll tell you, like, you need work-life balance because you're working so much. Now the conversation ends there because they don't know how to do it and they just leave.
Yeah.
They just think it'd be a good idea for you. Okay. They don't have it. Okay. They don't have it. They don't know how to tell you to have, but it sounds really cute. So I'm always like, well, how about you stay a few minutes and tell me how I do this? And what I tell people on this, and this is really important because I totally believe in all 5 F's, and that does create great balance, whatever that actually is in those areas. But if your business is a hot mess, you don't get any of the 5 F's. You can't balance it because you're always going to be obsessed with the mess. Who's not coming in tomorrow? Oh, I got to make payables. Oh, payroll. All this stuff isn't taken care of. It's not running itself. You can never turn that off. As an entrepreneur, you can never turn it off. Okay. So it's hard to go, well, let me go work on faith and family and my finances and my fitness and my friendships, when all you're thinking about is work and how you might go under at any moment. Okay. So the goal to it is to fix the business first. And then let's talk about those 5 F's. Let's get into it, but they're there and they need to be done. So I'm not saying to ignore them, but you got to fix the business because that's your income generator. That's how you live, right? That's how you're going to achieve things. So that's got to get fixed. And then you get in those, and then you can create some real harmony in your life.
You talked about being stuck and all this and everything. How do entrepreneurs transition from serving their business, because that's how it is at the beginning, you're dedicated and working to building up the business, to having their business serve them?
Yeah. So you need what I call outside eyes. You need someone to come in, whether it's a coach, business consultant, whatever that might be. But the outside eyes can see things you can't. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you are focused on certain things, what you're doing, right? You can't really see the big picture. The next thing they do right from there is start to build out systems and processes, lanes for people to run in, right? Because people have to know what's required of them. The problem is people come and do things, but don't really know the boundaries. They don't know the expectations. They don't know the consequences of their actions, right? They have to understand all this stuff. So once you build that out, then you can delegate people into those slots. And I have another saying, it's called people always leave. Okay. So someone's always going to quit. They're going to not show up. They're going to do whatever. They're going to retire. They're going to do a million different things, right? So how quickly can you get someone in that spot and up to speed? Can you do it in a week? Or it's going to take 6 months, which is not going to help your company. So once you build all that out, someone does leave, you can get the replacement, get them up to speed, and off they go, right? So it's really important to understand that's the process how you begin the transition, which also includes the owner letting go, putting the literal hammer down, walking away from doing the work, focus on what we call their 5%. That's the 5% of the business only they can do. The vision, reeling in the big clients, right? Really understand what growth they want to do, working towards their exit strategy, things like that. So that's really how they begin that process.
Awesome. What what are some of the common mistakes business owners make when trying to grow their business?
Well, the first one is they're trying to do everything themselves. We just talked about it, right? Yeah. They're trying to do a lot. They're trying to maintain a death grip on control. Okay. And you don't get to have that if you really want a business that you're not serving, it serves you. Right. So that's one of the things. They also don't start with the end in mind. They really need to start with the exit. Like if you think you're going to launch your business, you got an idea and you put things together and you're going to launch. Before you launch, you need to have an exit strategy. And it sounds contradictory, right? It sounds like, well, why would I'm just starting? Why am I thinking about leaving? Because what happens when you create the exit strategy, and in simple terms, it's how long and how much. How long are you going to do this business? How much do you want when you get out? Okay, so I'll do it for 10 years. I want a $10 million exit. Okay, sounds good. Now you have to reverse engineer that. So what's that going to take from day one? Okay. Like say, hey, by the time I get there, I'm going to be making 7 figures a year for my own salary. I'm making $1 million. I want that 10 million exit. So we got to look and go, well, why would someone pay me $10 million for my business? What have I built? Does it run itself? No one's going to walk into a hot mess that's run by you. Okay. Cause they don't get you. You want the money and leave. They're not going to pay you anything for that, right? So as you reverse engineer, you start to see, okay, I'm going to have to do this and this. When the first person gets hired, because you understand you have a path now. Now, let's say you're going to make that $1 million a year for your own salary. You're doing really well. You're going to get that 10 million at the exit. Now you get to the exit, you get your 10 million, you leave. Now, what did you lose? $1 million a year in salary.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess in theory you got 10 years with that 10 million and you're done, right? So we don't want to do that. So what would you do now if you know that's the end and the end game? Oh, okay. I'll start acquiring assets that generate income. I'll build that up to $83,000 a month of passive income coming in. Now when I step out with that $10 million check, I've still got my million coming in. I don't even have to work. Right. So now I got my bonus, my 10 million sale price, and I've got my yearly million coming in, and I can continue to build on that. Right. And the one of the last great things about it is it becomes an incredible business filter. So you get a lot of opportunity when you're in business. People want to, hey, you should do this. And this is a great way to make money. And you're doing really well at that. You should do this. Say, okay, well, let me run that through my exit strategy. And if it gets me closer to my exit and faster, I'm all in. If it detracts from it, that's a hard no, right? It keeps you really focused on the main thing that you set in the beginning. Now, that's the best time to start an exit strategy. The second best time would be right now. Okay, like you could do it right now and begin. Even if you don't have a plan to exit, you should still build an exit because you always want to build a business to sell. Because if it's built to sell, it runs itself. Right. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it this way, not only for your own freedom and time and money, but having a sellable asset that someone will pay you big money for.
Yeah, definitely. How can being that you went through 2008, how can entrepreneurs bounce back from catastrophic failure like bankruptcy or a business collapse?
Well, the first thing I would tell people is you're not the first person that happened to. Okay. All the greats have multiple bankruptcies and failures. Failure is just a learning process. Okay. Quitting is completely different. Okay. If you quit, well, that's on you. You're a quitter. Okay. So if you fail, you just failed and you keep going. Okay. If you lose the game today, you got to come back and play tomorrow. That's what champions do. Right? They can lose, come back tomorrow and play, and win or whatever. So you have to understand that failure is only an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Problems are opportunity. If you look at it that way, say, okay, I don't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I knew I was not going to do what I did. And to this day, it's been 15 years? Haven't built a water feature, haven't touched a welder. 15 years. I am all or nothing. I'm a little odd. But I'm just a completely different direction, right? I want something completely different. So you can reinvent yourself. You can make things. You just have the willingness and the perseverance, the grit to go through that. Because if you do, the other side is going to be magnificent because what you learn from that failure, that collapse, that is gold. I always tell my kids it's better to know what you don't want than what you actually want. Because if you know what you don't want, that really narrows the selection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really gets like, okay, now I know a lot of things I don't have to look at because I know I don't want that. So, and that's what failure is. You understand, I'll never do that again. Like I did, I'll never do that again. I'm going to be around my family. So I got to raise my kids. I got to be around. I mean, I was, running the gym. I was running a stream, but if my wife needed me, I could be home in 15 minutes, not 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. If I want to take the kids somewhere for the day, I can do that. I could do whatever I wanted. But I love business. I love working, but the options were real, not pretend. If I wanted to go, hey, we homeschooled them, we raised them that way. If I want to take them, we're going to go to the zoo or go whatever, I could just go. And that I love that. And I now that my kids are all in their upper teens, even one's 20, like I said, he's in the Marine Corps, you see the fruit of that, the difference that made. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Awesome. Yeah, no, having that freedom is something that all all entrepreneurs should strive for, because you don't. If that's the case, you might as well just stay at a job if you're gonna just
Yeah.
sell your time.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, and listen, at the beginning of entrepreneurship, it's not gonna just take off. You have
No.
to put in the work and build it, and like you said, build it to the point where you don't no longer have to sit there and control it, where you've already delegated the power to, and now you could, like you said, go home if your wife needs you in 15 minutes. You don't have to wait 5 hours or wait till you get off your job to go and spend time with your kids and do things that are important.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's you're working 50, 60, 70 hours,
Yeah.
but now you can get it down to 20. Okay, that's a pretty good week. Okay, that's 4 hours a day. And then you got a lot of time left in the day. Working 4 hours, So you could plan this, and you can pick and choose your days, but that's truly where you can go, with it. And you're still in control. You are still in control because you're the main decision maker. You're the executive.
So I got somebody here who asked a question. What is the first step to take when I'm going into business for myself?
Okay, first step. So it's a little, I don't have the full context, but if you're going to go into business, you have an idea or a service, whatever you're going to do, the first thing to do is sell something, sell your service, sell your product. Focus on, it's called proof of concept, right?
Yeah.
The only real proof of concept is to someone who's not my family, not my friends. Did one of those people who are not those two people give me money for what I'm doing? That's proof of concept. Family and friends don't count. And let me also recommend you never ask them what they think about your business or your product, because they're biased, okay? Good and bad, right? They're going to not want you to go into business because of the risk, or they're going to love you so much. You'll be awesome, and they won't tell you how horrible you're doing, okay, and how awful a product or service you have. You're doing a terrible, okay? So I was just being real. You want to get the stranger, okay, who sees it, loves it, or here's a little bit of advice I love to share. If you've got a product or a service, let's say you made a really cool product, whatever it is, I don't care. It's a new mop. I don't care what it is. And you take it to a complete stranger, and here's how you approach them. Say, hey, listen, I just made this. Can you tell me all the stuff that's wrong with it? Can you poke holes in this? Like, tell me why this isn't a good thing. Instead of going, hey, do you like this? Can you tell me why this is great? Because people are going to like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's good. But if you go with the anticipation of receiving negativity, it'd be way easier to ask, for one, but it's also going to make your product great. You got a stranger who doesn't know you. They're not going to hurt your feelings. They don't care. And they're going to tell you what's wrong with it. And then you can fix it. And now you got a great product or service. Maybe you're doing something completely wrong, and someone's able to tell you, hey, maybe have you ever thought about doing this? Hey, if the trigger was on this side, it'd be a lot better. This is for lefties only. So it's like you can figure something out like that. But when you're going to start a business, just kind of buckle up and get ready for the ride, because you're going to get some bumps, you're going to get some scars, but it's all worth it. But selling, make money with it. You got a lot more to do, but until you do that, you're just going to be spending money, right? It's like having a hobby.
Yeah.
Hobbies cost money. Businesses make money. You need to make money. Prove that what you got is something worth having.
Yeah. So we're going to touch on one of your F's. How does faith play a role in your approach to business and personal growth?
Well, for me, I'm a Christian, right? I'm a Christ follower. I start every morning at 4 a.m. I get up, I make my mushroom coffee, I drink my water, I get into my Bible study. So I spend the first hour, just spending time in the Word, being with the Lord. 5:30, I head off to the gym, but that's every day. And then, of course, I've got my church. I do a Bible study on Thursday nights with the men that we started. I do church on Wednesday nights. So my faith and how I raise my children, we homeschool so I could raise them with a biblical worldview, right? That was kind of our impetus for actually doing it. And that's how it plays a part in me, because my principles, my biblical principles I live by, are in my business, right? That's how I live. I live that way. I live by what God says the principles are, right? So from a faith standpoint, I run my business obviously with high integrity. It's very just. Okay. I'm fair. But I'm, I provide, I give people more value than I'm being paid for. Right. That's just another biblical principle. So what I've done is it's really enabled me to run a business I can be not proud of, but like I can look at it and go, I know who I'm serving. Number one, right? I do all things as unto the Lord. So I understand that, but I also understand the Lord's pleased with what I'm doing. Right. It's like I'm doing the best I can as a, failed sinful human. I'm doing the best I can in this business to treat everybody equally. Again, drive a lot of value and everything else. And it's incredibly rewarding for me.
Awesome. What inspired you to focus on helping small businesses impact their employees and communities positively? I know faith and all that is involved.
Right. Yeah. So here's what I do when I work with businesses, because a lot of business culture is kind of messed up. It's like work, it's time for dollars. It's all this kind of the man and the people working and all that kind of stuff. And it's to use a current term, it's a little toxic. Okay. So what we want to do, we kind of create a strategic vision. We get people working for a purpose. But even beyond that, as we build out all these lanes we talked about earlier, I don't want just their people to be competent. Like, hey, they're really good at their job. Yeah, we'll skill them up. We'll get them really good. How do we improve them as people? Right? If we can improve them as people, well, they take that. Where do they go? Home, right? To their families. Now that goes into their families. And where are their families? In the community. Okay. So if I want to help 10,000 business owners create profit, freedom, and impact in their business, they all have 5 to 50 employees, 100 employees who then have, who have families, who then are in community. That's millions of people I can affect with these principles in this way and helping them become better. Plus, when people are better people, well, they tend to stay around.
Yeah.
They tend to like what they're doing. They're working for a purpose, or they're getting the recognition, they're getting the quality pay. They're getting the things a business like that operates under, right? So you get great retention, which is key. We all need to keep the people that are working for us because it's really hard to replace them.
Something that I've been focusing on these past few months is how do you get entrepreneurs to balance their professional goals with family as well as their personal health?
Yeah, the health is a big thing because here's the thing. We have a little saying that we use. Might be just because I'm a Marine, but if you're not fit, you're not fit to lead. Okay. Now, fit has multiple meanings. Yes, there's the physical fit, but there's also fit mentally. Right? Are you mentally fit to handle this, to lead 2 people, 5 people, 50, 500? Are you fit? And health and nutrition is key. What you put in your body gives you the energy or takes the energy away, right? It creates illness or it creates health, right? The movement, the exercise, not being chained to a desk all day, getting out, moving, get those workouts in the morning like I do every day. You've got to build that into it, because not only does your business need you 100%, so does your family, right? So what we did is we built it into our family as the norm. Always working out, we're active, we go outside, we do things. The kids run, they do cross country, they do track, all the different sports, volleyball. So we're an active family, and we ate really well. Like we made all our babies food. Like I'm, puree and stuff and everything else and give them all this food. So I remember when they were kids, well, their friends would come over and like open the fridge, like there's no food in here, but it's packed. Well, it is, but it's like greens and it's all this stuff you have to cook and prepare. There's nothing in boxes. So it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Well, our kids ate out. Honestly, I think we went out 3 times in like the first 10, 12 years of having our kids like eat out. Well, first there's 6 of them. Okay. It's a lot of us to go and pull that off, but it's like, we cooked everything at home. I cooked, my wife cooked. I mean, I'd custom make their breakfasts because I'm home.
Yeah.
And they'll be there and they're like, well, what do you want today? I'm like going total restaurant style. I'll do eggs. I'll make you a pancake. Okay, we'll do some Kodiak pancakes. I'll give you some protein pancake. It's a blast.
Yeah.
But those are the memories I hope my kids really keep with them. People are like, oh, you're spoiling them. I go, my kids aren't spoiled. Okay. They're just eating good. Okay. That's what they're doing.
What do you think are some of the most overlooked aspects of leadership for business owners?
I'll tell you, I think one of the most overlooked is that most leaders, they're not in what they now call the servant leadership position. They're not really serving their people. They're trying to just have them do things, do what I tell you. And I'm 20 years guilty of that. I was hardcore. You're talking jarhead, right? I mean, I'm like, dude, just do what I tell you. Oh, you don't want to do what I tell you? Well, get out of here. You're fired. I'm like, there's no middle ground here. Just go, So I wasn't great in that way. I hired the right people who just did the work, who were great workers. So I didn't have to. My guys showed up every day. They showed up early. They stayed late. I just had good people. But now the reason they kind of I'll tell you what it is. There's too much leadership coaching out there. That's the problem. Everybody's I was just talking with a guy talking about the same things. Like, it's too vague. Leadership coach. What in the world does that mean? That could be a million different things, right? So it's really important. Like, it's too subjective, right? So you want to lead. What are you doing for your people? Okay, what are you doing for them? Again, how are you making them better people? How are you showing them the way? How do you treat them when they make a mistake? How do you correct that kind of stuff? How do you, and I'm up to like a 0 on the empathy scale. Okay. Me personally. Okay. I was kind of negative 1 or 2 on the empathy scale. Okay. I had none. It's like born with none. Okay. So it was really difficult for me, but now I've learned by watching. Now I know I hire the people with empathy. So I put empathetic people in place to do the work because I am like limited, very limited.
At least you acknowledge where you lack there, but it's fine. So some people are just not empathetic. It's
just
first of all, you're a Marine,
right. It's just, we just get it done. I don't care about your feelings. I'm just going to get this done, and you can go cry later. You can go cry later. I'm just going to get this done now.
Oh man. How does focusing on friendships and community contribute to your business success?
I think if you don't have that, it's a release. Okay, friends are a release. All right, you can go, you can talk a little smack, you can mess around, you can work out, you can play, you can just hang out around the fire. You know what I mean? And just share, because everyone's got their stuff they go through, whether they're business owners or employees, and you need that release. It's an escape. And not in the sense you're using your friends, but like being with them. Like, I got buddies come over, we do some shooting, we can shoot in the backyard, and we can kind of do stuff like that, right? So we kind of do something that's very away from business. And I truly only have a few friends that I call friends. I know a lot of people, but I had my joke with my kids is, well, if I lost 3 fingers on one hand, I still got all my friends can still fit. But it's just, but they're good friends, right? So I've developed strong friendships over time. Again, that's part of the balance, right? I don't have 37 friends I have to take care of or maintain the relationships because I can't. Right? I have kids, I have a business, I have a wife. Okay, friends are, they can't. How some people like always with the boys?
Yeah.
That ain't right. Okay, your friends are in limited doses. And that's the way it is. And that's how I balance that. So for me, it's a little easier than most people because I don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
But I'm still a really nice guy.
I'm sure you are. So we've talked about again how to balance stuff, but it's kind of just like how the name of the podcast stuck in my mind. Why is it entrepreneurs just feel stuck? Like, why is it some of the reasons they feel stuck in the day-and-day grind of running their business?
I think they have this sense of it's all on me. I have to succeed. I was all about me that first 20 years. I'm going to succeed. I had a billionaire client trying to give me advice that I would not take.
Mm.
I mean, I'm like, what does he know? He just owns like professional sports teams and manufacturing plants and stuff. He's never built a water feature. You know, that's the level of stupid I operated at. Okay. And I had other high end clients doing the same thing. I did everything that was twice as hard, twice as long. I kind of made it. But if I would have listened to what they were saying, I wouldn't have collapsed in 08, 09. Because they were just telling me just things I should have been aware of just because they like me. You know, they weren't asking for anything. They're just like, hey, you ever think maybe you need a bean counter? Like you're making a lot of money and you're kind of, where's it going? You know, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm good. I'll just make more. It's okay. I'll just keep going. And so that was one of the big things because, man, it's people get stuck again looking for success. So you got ego, okay, which I now just keep in a box.
Yeah.
Okay, it's locked up. I guess come out once in a while, but not too often, right? That ego and pride is what ruined my business.
Mm.
It's all about me. It's all about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about me. You know, it's that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly driving. So I get the credit. I want to do the next great thing so people will tell me I'm great. And I kept doing it. Right? That's a horrible. It's the best analogy I've ever heard and I use now is you never want ambition in the driver's seat. If ambition's in the driver's seat, you're going off the road. You know, so you really have to kind of stay in that passenger seat, understand you got to tether, but again, getting the right people to take on this work, to even who are much better than you, which is most people. So if most people are better than you, then you might want to hire them. Because you think you're the best, okay, and you might be at a few little things, but not running a business, okay? If you're an entrepreneur, came in because you have a skill, a trade, a craft, whatever it is, and you are really, really good at, you might be the best at that, but running the business, I guarantee you're not the best, okay? You're not the best accounting person. You're not the best office manager. You're not the best anything except the one thing that you do. So you better hire out and find great people, and that'll keep you in check all by itself.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. What is the importance of mindset and of overcoming failure and finding success?
So mindset, just like this, you name your thing stuck in my mind,
Yeah.
right? Your head controls everything. Mind, will, and emotions. That's your soul. Right? Mind, will, and emotions. So mindset is incredibly important because this is what's going to make your decisions. Right? If you're what they call poverty conscious, right? Everything is lack. There's scarcity. Everything's well, you're going to make decisions based on that mindset. I grew up with no money, never had money, had this ground. So, there's just not enough. Or I'm going to make a ton. I'm going to just keep making more money because there's never enough money, right? So you're going to make more and more and more. And where's your focus now? On making money all the time, making more money. The old John D. Rockefeller, how much money's enough? He says, just $1 more. He had that mindset, right? Just $1 more. You just want to keep making more, right? So mindset's also going to take you through these leadership things we talked about. It's going to take you through adversity. How are you going to deal with it? You're going to have it. Good economy, bad economy, mediocre economy. You're going to have adversity in your business. You have to be ready for it. I think the great saying is there's 3 stages of life. You're either going into a crisis, in a crisis, or heading out of a crisis. Those are the 3 stages. You just be prepared, right? Just prepare yourself, but that's in your head, right? You've got to have this mindset to persevere and to also have everybody else go with you through that.
Yeah. So you have this vision of impacting 10,000 small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
How do you plan on attacking that? How do you plan on doing that?
One business at a time, Will, one business at a time. So we're scaling, bringing on more coaches, reaching more
Yeah.
people. I mean, that's really the key. And when you help them and you start making those changes in their business and give them back that freedom, word kind of travels. People see that, right? They see a change, that everything changes. Like you'll see their entire business change, their business culture changes. They're spending time with their families, like legit. I had a wife of one of my clients call me and said, 8 years we've been in business. I never thought this was possible. We just spent 2 weeks at the beach. He was never on the phone, totally present, with all five of our kids. She goes, I never thought that would happen ever.
Wow.
I'm like, and there it is. And that's my reward. I saved the family. I really saved the family.
That's awesome.
And that's worth the whole price of admission.
Yeah. Man, Richard, this has been great. I could talk to you for hours. But now it's come to the point of the show where you get the solo screen and you get the plug away, let everybody know where they can find you,
Okay.
the book, everything.
Yeah. So sharpenthespearcoaching.com. One-stop shop. Go there. Escape the Owner Prison you can grab on Amazon. So it's Escape the Owner Prison by Richard Walsh. Take a look at the book. But let's do this, Will. Since you've been awesome, this has been awesome. Let's give a gift to your listeners. Okay, especially the person who asked the question. You get this gift. Go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Go to my contact page. Just send a one-sentence email. Say, hey, I heard you on Will's show. Stuck in my mind. I'd love to get a free copy of your audio version of your book, and I'll send it right to you. How about that?
Awesome. Heck yeah, that'll work. So everyone out there if you catch the replay or anything else, send them a one. Let them know you saw him on Stuck in My Mind podcast, and you will get a free audio of his book.
That's it.
Awesome.
Love
Thank you. Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Thank you so much for being such a great guest. You're always welcome to come back whenever you write another book. Definitely come back and share. And
it's in the works.
When it's ready, just hit me a message. Hit me up with a message, and we'll have you back on the show to come promote the book. And yeah, I'm actually going to go order the book on Amazon as soon as we're done here. But thank you so much for being such a great guest.
Thanks, Will, man. This has been a lot of fun. I had a great time, man. Appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you being a guest. But let me close out the show, and then we'll chat a little bit off the air. But thank you so much, man. This was great stuff. All right, another great episode is in the books. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Corrado, as always, thank you, brother, for coming by and leaving comments and asking questions. You are definitely someone I cherish because you've been a supporter since day one. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Bobby J, Brandy J, love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady, love you and appreciate you. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know, your boy Wise does it. Peace out.